So I will also see. Can somebody also send the link? So by the time we are setting up, we will sing a bhajan by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhuliya Tumhare. In 5-7 minutes. Hare Krishna. Shri Bhaktivinoda Thakur ji ki jai. So once it comes here, you can see. Otherwise, you can see on phone. The bhajan is called Bhuliya Tumhare. भूलिया तुम्हारे संसारे आसिया पे नाना विधा व्यथा भूलिया तुम्हारे संसारे आसिया पे नाना भूलिया तुम्हारे संसारे आसिया पे नाना विधा व्यथा তোমার চরণে আসিয়াছি আমি বলিব দুঃখের কথা তোমার আসিয়াছি আমি বলিব দুঃখের কথা জাননি যাঠারে ছিলাম যখন বিষম বন্ধন ফাঁসে জাননি যাঠারে ছিলাম एक बार प्रभु आसियाच एक बार प्रभु देखिए दिया मोरे वांछिले दीन दासे तखन भाविनु जन्म पाइया करिब भजन तवा जन्म होइलो पड़ी माया जाले न होइलो ज्ञान लवा आधारेरा छेले स्वजनेरा कोले हसिया का तनु काला आधारेरा छेले स्वजनेरा कोले हसिया का तनु काला जनक जननी स्नेह ते भूलिया संसार लागिलो भाला जनक जननी स्नेह ते भूलिया संसार लागिलो भाला क्रम दीन दीना बालक होइया भेलिनु बालक सहा क्रमे दीना दीना बालक होइया भेलिनु आर किछु दिने ज्ञान उपजिलो पाठ पढ़िया आर किछु दिने ज्ञान उपजिलो पाठ पढ़िया विद्यार गौरवे भ्रमि देश देशे धन उपार्जन करी
विद्यारगौरवे भ्रमिदे छे धन उपार्जन करी स्वजन पालना करिए कमाने भूलिनो तो मार हरि स्वजन पालना करिए कमाने भूलिनो तो मार हरि बादक एकोना भक्ति विनोद कांदिया का तरती बादक एकोना भक्ति विनोद कांदिया का ना भजिया तोरे दिन वृथा गेलो एकोना के हवे गति ना भजिया तोरे दिन वृथा गेलो ना हवे गति भूलिया तो मारे संसारे अतिया पे नाना विध व्यथा भूलिया तो मारे संसारे अतिया पे नाना विध व्यथा তোমার চরণে আসিয়াছে আমি বলিব দুঃখের কথা হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে हरे राम 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा जय जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद
श्री भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर जी की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. So I will quickly go through the meaning of this beautiful bhajan. I'll just read the translation. I forsook you, O Lord, and came to this world of pain and sorrow. Now I submit my tale of woe at your lotus feet. While still in the unbearable fetters of my mother's womb, I saw you before me. You revealed yourself but briefly, and then abandoned this poor servant of yours. At that moment, I swore to worship you after taking birth. But birth came, and with it, the network of worldly illusion, which robbed me of all good sense. As a fondled son in the lap of relatives, I passed my time smiling and laughing. My parents' affection helped me to forget the pangs of birth. and I thought the world was very nice. Day by day, I grew and soon began playing with other boys. Shortly, my power of understanding emerged. I read and studied my lessons incessantly. Traveling from place to place, proud of my education, I grew wealthy and maintained my family with undivided attention. O Lord Hari, I forgot you. Now in old age, Bhakti Vinod is sad. He weeps and failed to worship you, O Lord. I failed to worship you, O Lord, and instead passed my life in vain. What will be my fate now? Hare Krishna. So today, so this is a beautiful bhajan sung by one of the prominent acharyas, and basically this is a, as the name suggests, it is a prarthana in the lotus feet of the Lord to reveal or to present our fallen condition. So different bhajans are in different moods. Some bhajan are expressing our fallen status. Some bhajans are a calling for the mercy. So the different moods are there in which the bhajans are written. Right. So this is how we should also sing them. We should try to sing them. So today I've been given the service to speak on verse number first canto, 10th chapter, and verse 23. Previously, I talked about verse number 8 in the same chapter, and then verse number 4 and 8 were talked, and then 11, 12, and then directly we are here 23. Previously, when I was taking verse number 4, I talked about the context of this chapter. Right. So now the war is complete, and Krishna is planning to go back. And then on the request of Subhadra, his beloved sister, he stayed for a few more months, and then finally he is going back. So now when he is going back, then all this chapter, the setting of this chapter is in that context. So everybody is very sad, as we can imagine. So when Krishna is leaving, everybody will be sad. Where else can we see that Krishna came momentarily and then he left and the person became very unsatisfied? Yes, Narad Muni, Dhruv Maharaj, and similar. So, so like that, we can see that this is the nature of the Lord, that he doesn't stay very long with his pure devotees, so that he increases their love. So therefore, we are trying to catch Krishna, but we should also remember, if we are able to catch anyhow, then he will not stay with us. And that is called mood of separation. With gopis, it is called parikya bhav. With otherwise, it is called love in separation. Like that, this is, Krishna is known for it. And he is also considered sometimes, therefore, very cruel-hearted. So when he was okay, so we will start the verse and then we will talk about it. I already started. So this is the verse 110:23. Savayam yat padam atra suryayo jitendriya nirjita matarishvanaha pashyanti bhakti utkalitmalatmana nanav esa sattvam parimarshatum arhati. Savayam yat padam atra suryayo jitendriya nirjita matarishvanaha pashyanti bhakti uttalitmalatmana. It is utkalita amala atmana. Okay. Nanav esha sattvam parimarshatum arhati. Savayam yat padam atra suryo jitendriya nirjita matarishvanaha pashyanti bhakti utkalitmalatmana nanav esha sattvam parimarshatam arhati. Savayam yat padamatra suryo jitendriya nidita matareshvanaha Okay, I have also joined the Zoom now. Sorry for being late. And I hope I'm audible online. So Tripti Mataji, Bhavna Mataji, Ipshita Mataji, and Suresh Prabhu are online. Thank you for joining. We will start with the verse now. Word meaning: Saha, he, Vai, by providence, I am, this, Yat, that which. Padam Atra. Here is the same personality of Godhead Shri Krishna. Suryaha, great devotees. Jita Indriya, who have overcome the influence of the senses. Nirjita, thoroughly controlled. Matarishwanaha, life. Pashyanti, can see. Bhakti, by dint of devotional service. Utkalita, developed. Amal Atmana, those whose minds are thoroughly cleansed. Nanu Eshaha, certainly by this only. Sattvam, existence. Parimarshatum, for purifying the mind completely. Arhati, deserve. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charnarvind Swami Śrīla Prabhupāda, Śrīla Prabhupāda ki jai. Here is the same Supreme Personality of Godhead whose transcendental form is experienced by the great devotees who are completely cleansed of material consciousness by dint of rigid devotional service and full control of life and the senses. And that is the only way to purify existence. Purport. As it is stated in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord can be known in his real nature by dint of pure devotional service only. So it is stated here that only the great devotees of the Lord who are able to clear the mind of all material dust by rigid devotional service can experience the Lord as he is. Jitendriya means one who has full control over the senses. The senses are active parts of the body and their activities cannot be stopped. The artificial means of the yogic process to make the senses inactive has proved to be abject failure, even in the case of great yogis like Vishwamitra Muni. Vishwamitra Muni controlled the senses by yogic trance, but when he happened to meet Menaka, a heavenly society woman, he became a victim of sex, and the artificial way of controlling the senses failed. But in the case of a pure devotee, the senses are not at all artificially stopped from doing anything, but they are given different good engagements. When the senses are engaged in more attractive activities, there is no chance of their being attracted by any inferior engagement. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that the senses can be controlled only by better engagements. Devotional service necessitates purifying the senses for engaging them in the activities of devotional service. Devotional service is not inactive. Anything done in the service of the Lord becomes at once purified of its material nature. The material conception is due to ignorance only. There is nothing beyond Vasudeva. The Vasudev conception gradually develops in the heart of the learned after a prolonged acceleration of the receptive organs. But the process ends in the knowledge of accepting Vasudev as all in all, Vasudev Sarvamiti. In the case of devotional service, the very same method is accepted from the very beginning. And by the grace of the Lord, all factual knowledge becomes revealed in the heart of a devotee due to dictation by the Lord from within. Therefore, controlling the senses by devotional service is the only and easiest means. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपं कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतः श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च Shrirupam Sagrajatam Saganatakuthatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijan Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Saganalita Shri Vishakhan Vitam Shah Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshutarine Namo Vishnu Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prem Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauritushe Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanchakaltarubhesya Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namah Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Taptakatamam Vande Shri Guru Dinataranam. I know I have missed the Mangalacharan, so, but okay for now. So in this verse there are 4 high-level topics that are being discussed. One is the importance of the realization of the Supreme. Second is the importance of sense control and purified consciousness. Third, it is the bhakti. Third is the futility of controlling the mind via different yogic processes. And fourth is the supremacy of devotional service. Okay, so these are the 4 basic themes that are being discussed. In fact, in this whole chapter, Śrīla Prabhupāda is repeating on this one so that we can understand. So these 4 themes, if we understand, then we can gradually rise to the level of pure devotional service, which, as we will read further, is the giver of everything that is needed for going back to Godhead. Only devotional service. No knowledge, no gyan, no yoga, no ashtanga, anything. So I was telling that Krishna is actually known for leaving the devotees in his remembrance. So living in this material world and Krishna leaving the devotees are poles apart. They're like gold and potato. We should not confuse. So when Krishna leaves, he increases the love within the heart of devotees for himself. Like when Akrura took Krishna from Vrindavan to Mathura, then he promised gopis, which are the topmost unalloyed devotees of Krishna, he promised that he will come very soon. But he never came back. Right? And he met the gopis was after 100 years during a solar eclipse in Kurukshetra. There he met. And then gopis took him to Vrindavan forcefully, and then he was taken back. And this Jagannath Rath Yatra, one of the versions why Jagannath Rath Yatra started, came from there. So therefore, we should understand that getting devotional service of Krishna is not a joke. It is not an easy thing. And therefore, there are many steps or living entity should qualify in order to qualify for getting devotional service to Krishna. And therefore, it is very astonishing that over here in this verse, it is being talked about that only people who have purified consciousness and senses can actually understand Krishna and keep him in their heart. But at the same time, on the polar opposite side, I am sitting here and talking about such elevated matter. Therefore, it is I am completely unqualified to speak about this matter. Otherwise, it will be it is called by Prabhupada hypocrisy. If somebody has not realized something and he's speaking so much loudly about it, therefore I seek mercy from senior devotees sitting over here and all of you, so that I can speak about this subject matter for my own purification and getting more understanding about Krishna consciousness, finally rising to the platform of devotional service. So First of all, the first theme that I talked about in this verse is realization of the Supreme Being. So the ultimate goal of life. So the context of this whole verse is where Krishna is now leaving, and all the ladies of Hastinapur, some of them who are direct relatives of Krishna, have actually come out to greet him farewell. Rest of them, because of the Maryada and different etiquettes of the society, they have not come directly in front of Krishna, and they have climbed the rooftops of their houses and buildings, and some of them are also standing on the way with proper etiquette, and they're talking amongst themselves about the glories of Krishna, the glories of the other ladies of the Kuru dynasty who get to interact with Krishna, and then they are glorifying amongst themselves. But if you hear, generally it is thought and said that the previous times materialistic people, they argue like that. Previously, women were not educated so much, they were suppressed, they were kept in home, and parda and everything was there. But if you talk about, if we understand the kind of discussion these ladies are doing in this chapter, and actually in this verse, Śrīla Prabhupada, and in the next verse, if I'm not wrong, Śrīla Prabhupada is talking about how erudite and scholarly the conversation is. So therefore, Śrīla Prabhupada is also telling in Bhagavatam in other places that it is not that, apparently if it looks like in our Vedic system that the women should not be given similar kind of education as men, that doesn't mean that they are not educated. They are sufficiently educated to realize the Supreme. And that is 100% evident in this verse and in the series of the verses. Because the kind of discussion these ladies are having is not even held by very advanced yogic people. They have realized this supreme truth, and they are discussing about in such a genuine and humble manner. So this is the highest qualification or highest status of education that one can get, and this is evident over here. So the argument that women were suppressed and all that blah blah thing is all false, and it is not based on our Vedic version. It is not based. In recent times, maybe the original education system and Varnashram system have been perverted, and therefore in the recent past, maybe there were some many instances of women being suppressed. But in Vedic system, the actual system, there is no such suppression or oppression or anything like that. We can see over here. That is one. Second, the first part of the verse, the Śrīla Prabhupada is actually rejecting any sort of theoretical understanding of the Supreme. So he's talking about different kind of yogis that try to understand the Supreme by either meditating on Paramatma in their heart, or doing Ashtanga yoga. First of all, controlling mind with yam niyam asana and pranayam and all those things, or they will try to take the path of knowledge, or they will try to take the path of Sankhya, understanding the elements, the elementary components of the universe, and then combining them iteratively to reach the supreme truth, like that, right? 20, 24, 26 elements and all that. But actually in the first part of the verse itself, by the virtue of the qualities of these ladies of Hastinapur, simple ladies, and most of the time ladies are compared to whom? Shudras. Shudras and ladies are kept in one bucket most of the time, right? And they are talking like this. So the lowest educated level of Hastinapur are talking the most highest level of philosophy of the yogic process. So this is the level that people were realized in our Vedic system, in the perfect system. That is one. If we read this verse 1 to 7, just give me a minute. Yes. So Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janayati Asu Vairagyam Jnanam cha yat ahetukam. It's a famous verse. In the second paragraph in the purport, Śrīla Prabhupada is writing very important thing. See, the principles of knowledge and detachment are two important factors on the path of transcendental realization. That is the first part of this verse, transcendental realization. And what are the two important principles? Knowledge and renunciation. The whole spiritual process leads to perfect knowledge of everything material and spiritual, And the results of such perfect knowledge are that one becomes detached from material affection and becomes attached to spiritual activities, as we can see in the cases of these ladies discussing. Becoming detached from material things does not mean becoming inert altogether. So akarmanata ki baat nahi, we are not talking. Inactivity is not being talked here. Activity, full activity is being taught. As men with poor fund of knowledge think, nishkarmya means not undertaking activities that will produce good or bad effects. Negation does not mean negation of the positive. That is a very important principle I wanted to highlight. Negation does not mean negation of the positive. Negation of the non-essentials does not mean negation of the essential. Similarly, detachment from the material forms does not mean nullifying the positive form. That is the first takeaway we should take from here. So therefore, whatever we are hearing from the other sects of other branches of realizations, people are telling neti neti, or this is material, this is swapna, this is all dream. Mayavad says that the supreme falls into Maya and then accepts a form. All these are actually some form of negation of the non-essential. Does not mean negation of the essential. They are also, in order to negate the non-essential, they are negating the essential as well. Therefore, they are missing the point. They are missing the principle and the point. That is the first part. Okay. Then there is another verse, 10, 14, 29. How will one transcend this path of dry speculation, knowledge, and everything? So in this verse it is told, Athapite deva padambuja dvaya prasada leshangrihita evahi leshangrihita. Slight mercy. Janati tatvam bhagavan mahimno na chanya eko api chiram vichinvan. So he's saying, my Lord, if one is favored by even a slight trace of the mercy of your lotus feet, he can understand the greatness of your personality. But those who speculate to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead are unable to know you, even though they continue to study the Vedas for many, many years. This is nth canto is telling. And it is also quoted in Chaitanya Chaitamrit, chapter 684, it is told here. So like that, how can we approach or transcend this whole path of dry speculation and knowledge? By the slight mercy of Krishna. How does Krishna show mercy to the devotees? Via devotees. So people who are genuine and who are humble enough to surrender and leave their ego and surrender unto the lotus feet, to them Krishna shows mercy via pure devotees, and pure devotees come in their life, and then they intervene, and we get pure devotion. That is how the cycle happens. And then he works more serves more pure devotees. The pure devotees show more mercy. The elevation happened, and this bhajan kriya, anarth, nivritti, nishtha, asakti, ruchi, bhav, prem, and this whole cycle starts. In Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna is telling Arjuna that bhaktya mam abhijanati. Only by pure devotion or by devotion, a person can actually understand Krishna. What happens when we come in the association of devotees is told in Padma Purana. It is told aprarabdha phalam papam kutam bijan phalurmukham. So it is told either our sanskaras or previous karmas are in any state, either they are in the seed state or sapling state or tree or fruit, whatever state they are, they will be completely destroyed by how? By if we take shelter of the devotees association, we do devotional service like that. So everything will be vanished. And when that happens, what will happen? Our inclinations to understand the Supreme by the virtue of any sort of speculation will go away completely. So even though all of us are practicing devotees, most of us are practicing devotees, and we are trying to understand Krishna through the pure path of devotional service given by Prabhupada, but then there are still traces of previous samskaras pending in our consciousness. For example, speculation. Sometimes we start speculating why this, why not. Sometimes people ask, if we were in Golok Vrindavan, why did we fall? So if Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita, if you go back to Tad Gatva Nivartante Tadham Paramam Mama, if you go back to Godhead, nobody returns back. Why it happened? When did all this start? When did we first fall? All this is speculation. Śrīla Prabhupāda is telling, I was hearing a lecture today morning only, and one devotee asked Prabhupada similar question, some doubt he asked. And Śrīla Prabhupada gave wonderful answer. He said, yes, this is why we need to do devotional service. And when we do devotional service and become perfect, Krishna will reveal everything from inside. Don't worry. So he told like that. So Krishna will reveal everything. See, right now you don't so much worry about whether egg came first or chicken came first. Don't worry about it. When did we fall? What was the date? Don't worry. We have to follow the Mahajanas, the pure devotees, and gradually everything, whatever we want to know, will be revealed from within the heart. These complex questions that devotees also keep on wasting time. We should actually focus on the positive side of things, which is like what we should do to please, so that this is revealed. Right? It cannot be understood by speculation and argument and scholarly debates. Cannot be. We cannot reach there. If that would have been the case, there are many scholars outside of ISKCON as well who are actually studying Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and all our Vedic scriptures from time immemorial. In Germany, and actually, Bon Maharaj has many scholarly disciples who are still have many very scientific blogs they are writing to understand consciousness and God particle and what is the relation and all those things. But it is very difficult. How long will you do that? And life is very short. So therefore, the easiest path, as we will understand in the fourth section of this verse, easiest path is to actually do devotional service and please the Mahajanas and Supreme Lord, and then they will give whatever is required. And similarly, Narad Muni is also telling, when he is telling about Uchista Lepana, Anumodita Dujaha. So he told, Narad Muni was not very educated, he was a child, and he was coming from a very underprivileged background. But what he did, he served the Mahajanas, the Bhakti Vedantas. He served them with true heart. And then what they did, they gave him mercy and blessing. And with that, Narad Muni came to know everything. In fact, Narad Muni now knows everything about us. So he can go anywhere and he knows everything, and he keeps on counseling everyone. He has become counselor. A counselor is one who knows everything beyond you, right? So now Narad Muni has become, from a humble beginning, has become the global counselor for the Supreme Lord. That essentially means that he got that position by the mercy of whom? By the mercy of the Bhakti Vedantas, pure devotees. Second part of this verse is importance of controlling senses. And Krishna is telling, Lord Krishna is telling so much about sense control and why we should not pretend to control senses, how we should be able to mithyachara sa uchyate. If we outwardly show that we are controlling senses and we are devotee, but within mind, if we are thinking about sense gratification, then such a devotee is called whom? A mithyachari. Krishna is telling very clearly. And then if we are not that duplicitous, if we are genuine, if we really want to control, then how we should do it? Then he is telling that bhajate mam ananya bhag, that we should always try to worship and chant his holy names in the association of devotees, and that is how we will automatically and while doing that, we should kurma angani iva. How we should perform? We should perform like a tortoise. Like, one, depending upon Krishna's mercy so that he protects us, and second, doing activity yourself so that you can keep yourself aloof from sense objects like a tortoise. So tortoise, whenever the tortoise sees danger around him, what he does? He pulls back his senses within this hard shell. Similarly, we should be very cautious to draw a red line. It is called drawing a line. In corporate world, it is called drawing a line. Where we should draw the line, how far we should go. And one devotee in Delhi, he gave very good example of kabaddi. When you play kabaddi, the player who goes to the other side, right? He is very cautious how far he should go. If you go too much into the enemy's territory, they will actually grasp you. So therefore, he is very alert of how far you should go. Similarly, in our material life and in corporate life, and we are working, and even for brahmacharis, because brahmacharis have to go and collect donation, they have to go and meet, they have to talk to opposite gender as well, etc., etc. So we should know where to draw the line for ourselves. How far can I go that I will not get trapped? Sometimes, and Śrīla Prabhupāda also gave this example, sometimes many devotees, they try to imitate the advanced devotees. And one devotee was there in Mayapur who started imitating Haridas Thakur. So he sat under a tree and he just kept chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra whole day, and he was not doing any service and he was not listening to devotees. He completely gave up association. So gradually what happened? He left. And many years later, one other devotee saw that devotee in America. He was working at a petrol pump like that. So that's what happened. Unfortunate thing happened to him. So therefore, sense control and purification of consciousness is important, but it has to be done very cautiously under the proper guidance and being genuine about ourselves. So we have to be brutal about ourselves. It is told in corporate world, there is a term called be brutal about yourself. Know yourself first, right? Especially for managers, they have to be very brutal because they have to give feedbacks. You are not good. You are not doing good coding, etc., whatever. So like they have to be, but we have to be brutal about ourselves and about the other people, so that the feedback is proper and constructive and helps the other person to grow. And similarly, in devotional service also, we have to be very truthful about ourselves. We cannot, as Gaurang Prabhu tells, we cannot be premature transcendentalists. Like coming in devotion for some time, doing devotion properly, we cannot become complacent. Otherwise, some unfortunate event can happen, like it happened with many devotees, and it is actually currently also happening with many devotees who become overly confident or proud or complacent about the devotional activities. Then we have seen practically over last 10-20 years that many devotees, they come very good boys, but they leave. My humble self have been sticking around without any qualification because I feel like I never left devotee association where I was. So whatever fallen condition I was, I always kept with devotees. That is the first thing. So ultimately, what is purification? We talk about so much about purification in devotional life. In this verse, it is also being talked about. What is purification? Purification is of the senses, the mind, and the consciousness. The senses and the mind and the consciousness. Finally, we have to purify. And Vraj Krishna Prabhu, or maybe Vyasacharya Prabhu in this trip itself, they were talking about how do we know where our consciousness is at any given point in time? If we are alone and we have nothing to do, then what is coming in our mind that will define our consciousness at that point in time? Right? I will add to it, if you also have very powerful internet connection, if you are alone, nobody is watching you, and you have nothing to do, and you have very good internet connection, then you what is coming in your chitta, your mind, and that will actually define who we are, and we should be very brutal about it. Yes, this is myself. No cherry polishing or beating around the bush. This is what I am. This is only the way that we can actually survive. Otherwise, somehow or the other, in some time, either we will end up becoming like me, spent a lot of years, but no spiritual progress, or we will leave the spiritual journey altogether. The two things will happen. We have been seeing, and this elevation in consciousness is actually not something that we can get by our qualifications. It is not obtained. It is given. One is that you get something. One is that you are given something. So therefore, we can see this very clearly in the example of whom? Uttam and Dhruva. We can see this very clearly in the example of whom? Uttama and Dhruva. Dhruva Maharaj, when he was not given the lap of his father and the kingdom, but Uttama was given by someone else. But then, so Suruchi actually grasped the throne, right? The love, the affection of the husband and the throne and all the required comforts. But then Dhruva Maharaj, he very humbly went, to Narad Muni's shelter. He took the instruction, he followed the instruction, and then Lord gave him everything. Right. So this we can very clearly see that if we follow the instructions of the acharyas, then it is very easy to get everything, including the purification of mind, senses, and consciousness. And we will also get everything that is required to successfully and comfortably live in this world and beyond. So if you see in all these examples, either Narad Muni or Dhruva Maharaj or Prahlad Maharaj or any such example, Prachetas, I'm reading right now, 4th canto, 30th chapter. So Prachetas are actually glorifying the Lord, Supreme Lord. Beautiful verses. In all these cases, they have purified their senses. In fact, we will read this verse. How humbly they are actually, glorifying the Lord. 4:30:19. So, second, we also get everything that we want in this world to live comfortably. It is not that we will live like a debauchee or a pauper or a beggar. No, we will get everything that is required. And in Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna is confirming that whatever is required, I will supply. Whatever is there, I will protect, like that. Third important part is the futility of the yogic processes. Third part of this verse is the futility of the yogic processes. So we know by the examples of Vishwamitra Muni, Saubari Muni, and we have also known by seeing practically the examples around us that artificially suppressing the senses or the mind or purifying or any attempt to purify consciousness will actually ultimately result in frustration and failure. In frustration and failure. Saubari Muni was very elevated personality, right? He was there underwater. Actually, Pachetas also did the tapasya underwater only for 60,000 years. And Sabri Muni was also there underwater. What is the difference? The difference is that it is told, the difference is that Prachetas have always kept the association of the instruction given by Lord Shiva before they started the austerities. So Lord Shiva instructed them. First Narad Muni instructed them, then they left the home, Daksha's home, and then they went and they were instructed by Lord Shiva himself. He came from Kailash and gave them instructions and a mantra, and they followed that rigidly. It is said there, they followed that rigidly, and therefore they were underwater in their austerities, they were able to get the success. Saubari Muni did not do that because previously he offended Garuna, right? He offended. So he offended devotee association like that. And therefore, just by seeing the fishes mating, which we might also see many times, right? We might see fishes in the aquariums, big aquariums. They might be doing something we don't know whether they are mating or not. We will never know about the fishes. And moreover, an advanced devotee like such a great Muni, just by seeing the fishes and then falling down, is like a great example that all this happened by the providence and by the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Shri Radha Madhav ki jai, Gaur Nitai ki jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani Sudarshan Bhagwan ki jai, Panch Tattva ki jai, Nasim Bhagwan. Like that. So this all happened by the will of the Supreme Lord in order to present the example for the general populi and devotee to come many years ago, right? I also want to read this very beautiful verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Give me 1 minute. Ante Leela 6:135. चैतन्य कृपाते से नाही भय मने, कृपाते से नाही भय मने, सबे आशीर्वाद कर पौका चैतन्य चरणे. Pahu Chaitanya Charane. Because of the mercy bestowed upon him by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Raghunath Das, although situated in such material happiness, does not like it at all. Therefore, let every one of you be merciful toward him and give him the benediction that he may very soon attain shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Two very important points are mentioned in this verse. One, when Raghunath Das Goswami finally came and surrendered unto the feet of after previous two attempts, He came and finally surrendered. Then it is told that by the mercy of Mahaprabhu, he was first of all able to do that. So we are talking about what? Futility of the yogic processes, different processes apart from devotional service in controlling the senses, the mind, and the consciousness, and why it is important to take the mercy of the devotees. Therefore, let every one of you be merciful toward him and give him the benediction that he may very soon attain shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He has not yet attained. See, Raghunath Das Goswami is already there at the feet of the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He has already left the home, beautiful wife, heavenly, it is told, heavenly comforts he has left. Beautiful wife like Apsara. And then all the riches. His father was millionaire at that point in time. He left everything and he's already at the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But then again, yet Nityanand Prabhu is saying that let every one of you be merciful toward him. So being in the proximity, what it is showing, that being in the proximity of pure devotees of Krishna is not the guarantee that we have attained Krishna or the mercy of the devotees. What still is required? Raghunath Das Goswami is at the feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but then yet again the mercy is being invoked of whom? Of the devotees. So therefore, until devotees are favorable towards us, they are merciful towards us, they are praying for us, it is very, very difficult to actually attain the real fruit of devotional activities, which is the love of God. It is very difficult. And it takes a lot of time without that. There is another verse in Chaitanya Chaitamrit, 7 chapter 84, which is actually talking about the futility of the four Purusharthas, and it is talking about the fifth Purushartha, Pancham Purushartha, and which is called as the Param Purushartha. So what is that? Krishna Vishayaka Prema Param Purushartha. Krishna Vishayaka Prema Param Purushartha. Yara Age Trina Tulya Chari Purushartha. Yara Age Trina Tulya Chari Purushartha. Religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation are known as the four goals of life. But before love of Godhead, the fifth and highest goal, these appear as insignificant as straw in the street. Trinatulya, they are comparing like that. For us, it may not look like that, but your devotees are telling it is Trinatulya. So that is the ultimate. So here it is very, two lines are very important. I mean, very instructive. Therefore, in the beginning of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, it is declared, Dharma Projita Kaitavatra. Cheating religious systems in terms of these four material principles are completely discarded from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. For Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam teaches only how to develop one's dormant love of God. The Bhagavad Gita is the preliminary study of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and therefore it ends with the words, Swadharma Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. So one senior devotee in Delhi was telling, sometimes when we hear this sloka, we think about the other dharmas, we think about the Christianity, Judaism, and all those things. But that is okay, but actually it is more subtle. Sab dharman over here means whatever personal, activities or personal, what should I say, speculations that we have created about the Supreme Lord, we should leave all those mental speculations and only take to the authorized path of what acharyas have told. So that actually, this is the subtle conviction, import of that. And therefore it is told, cheating religious systems in the terms of these four material principles are completed. So Prabhuji was telling, cheating religious principles also exist between devotees. It is not that they're outside. Some people is telling, close your eyes, take a long breath, and I will show you God in 15 minutes. Some light will appear here, and that is cheating for sure. But then there are subtle forms of cheating religions as well within the devotee association as well. Why? Because Maya is the pure devotee of Krishna and she is never idle. We may be idle sometimes, but it is told Maya is never idle. She is always working 24/7. So therefore, she will try her best to actually try to create some sort of situation where she can bewilder whomever she can, because she has to also do devotional service, right? She cannot sit idle. So therefore, she is also attacking constantly. And whoever is prone to that attack, who is prone? who are actually still having cheating religion system in their mind and their hearts. They are prone. What are these systems? We concoct our own philosophies, versions of philosophies, or if our seniors, if our counselors, if our facilitators, Guru Maharaj, Shiksha Guru, Diksha Guru, they tell something, but we are not able to either follow. If you are not able to follow because of the genuine reason or shortcomings of our current situation, that is accepted. But if we don't follow just because we don't want to, then it becomes a part of cheating religions. Like that. Whatever we do, we are not able to do consciously about following the acharyas, it is called cheating religion. That is one of the important aspects. And then finally in this verse, the glorification of bhakti or devotional service is done, as we have been discussing, because that is the only and the fastest path for purification of the senses, the mind and the consciousness that we have been talking about. It is also the shortest path as compared to the other long paths of the mental speculation, yogic process and all. And it is the susukham kartum abhyayam. So it is happiness while doing it, and it is happiness after the process is complete. Other processes, they are very troublesome while you are doing it, and very few of the yogis who actually take to those processes actually are able to get the final result. Very few of them. And even if they go there, let's say somebody attains Brahmajyoti and he's able to attain Nirvana, Brahmajyoti, a Zen state or whatever they call it, right? Then they what ultimately where they will go? Brahmajyoti. But in Brahmajyoti it is told that it is Sat and Chit, but there is no Ananda. It is Sat and Chit, but there is no Ananda. Therefore, the minuscule fraction of yogis who even reach there somehow or the other, they will also finally have to search for what? Ultimate Anandam. Because we as individual living entities, we are Satchidanand and we have to search for Anand because our supreme constituent, the portion of which we are part of, is actually the perfect source of bliss. So without bliss, we cannot live. And therefore, Śrīla Prabhupāda tells, even if they go there after some time, Shinne Punye Mrityum Lokam Vishanti. It happens. From higher planets also and from Brahmajyoti also, it most of the times comes back. Śrīla Prabhupada at other places also says sometimes that some people from Siddha Loka and Brahmajyoti also go back to Vaikuntha. That also happens, but it is very, very rare. Very rare. I mean, we should not trek a path which is very rare. So if I tell you there is a trek, in last 100 years, only 1% reached alive. Will you take that? No, right? So we should, those paths are there, but very troublesome. So the last portion, I will take 2 more minutes. The last portion actually glorifies bhakti in a more and more emphasized manner. And therefore, in Bhagavad Gita also we have read, Esham tavandagatam papam gyaranam punya karmanam te dvanda moha nirmukta bhajate ma manane bhag. So when somebody takes the path of devotional service, they get the mercy of the Lord. They get free of all kinds of dvanda, that is dualities. This is right, this is wrong. This is short, this is long. This is good for me, this is not good for me. They completely become free of all the dualities, and then they take to what? Bhajate mam ananya bhag. Ananya bhag. Now there is no confusion. So whatever confusion was there, we should quickly get rid of it. Whether Krishna is Supreme Personality of God, Godhead or not, whether the parampara that we are in is authorized or not. Initially, when we come here, we should actually do whatever research we want. Once we have done, then what we should do? Bhajate mam ananya bhag. Then there is no scope for going back. So people who go back, they are called as vantasis. Vantasi is like you take to higher position and then to go back to lower position. Like in more menial terms, it is told like you spit and you then lick it again. Like that. We left something. We left all the material pleasures, tea, coffee, and onion garlic, and then if again we become attracted towards that, then it is a very sorrowful condition. And then finally, this verse is very. This will conclude this verse 1-17. Shramatam swakatha Krishna Prunya Sevana Kirtana Hri Antastoya Bhadrani Vidunoti Suraj Satam. Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his message. Very important. Which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. So we have been discussing 4 parts of this verse. The first part, I will just repeat. The first part actually talks about the relation of the Supreme. Why is that important? Second is the importance of control of the senses, the mind, and the consciousness. The third part talks about the futility of the different processes apart from devotional service. And the fourth part actually glorifies the devotional service. So over here it is told who will get the desire to chant the holy names of the Krishna incessantly, who has developed the urge to hear his message. And how we will be develop the urge to hear message in the association of devotees. So sometimes people say first you will need Shraddha, then you come to Sadhu Sang, and then Bhajan Kriya starts. But actually some other acharyas and devotees tell that actually Bhajan Sadhu Sang is the first initiating point. So with Sadhu Sang actually Shraddha becomes more condensed. So yes, the initial beej of Shraddha comes from our previous sanskaras, prarabdhas, upbringing of this life and previous life and all those things. But then actually the solidification of that seed of Shraddha becomes when we come in this association of devotees, like-minded devotees. So I will stop here. If there are any questions or comments, then Hare Krishna. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. We are already over time, so if you have office or anything, then please proceed.
Thank you very much for the wonderful class. Sometimes we use for that. So we need partner. Many times we discuss that actually talking to the head on the person that you are father. And actually basically fed down because we need a plan. We don't assist to the another reason for it partner. We are not confident about this too. Then will he be in that category of
Yeah, so if you see Vishwamitra, there is no, at least I have not read any written evidence of he did any aparad and therefore, I don't know, you can add.
actually he was very much angry as well.
Yeah,
So was the pure God.
Hmm.
So that envy led to all those things. In fact, the other side is whatever we are discussing. Many times devotees, we myself, we criticize a lot. Probably also Guru Vishwamitra Mundya. But ultimately they achieve perfect.
Ultimately,
Took some time. The only problem the problem in the process is a very long time. And in between, lot of ups and downs in our making. So one has to be very careful about those things.
yes.
But the process itself is recommended by the scripture.
Hmm.
But the offenses that are done, that are negated. So, it's like, what is the normal process?
Yeah. So actually, if you have to see black and white, what is wrong and right, they're not wrong as such. They're not wrong. See the point that Sabri Muni offended Garun Dev or other munis who fall down, actually we will find some trace of some sort of anartha or offense that they would have done, and because of that happened. That is also because these processes does not lead to purification of mind, senses, mind, and consciousness that fast. And Śrīla Prabhupāda actually tells this in many lectures as well, that these paths actually lead to purification very long time, millions of ages or lifetimes. So that is also one of the reasons. Yes, that is authorized, but if it takes so much long time and we keep on falling, and there is a risk in fall down also, right? These people might have risen again. What if there are many other people who never rose again, or they took more millions of years in between, right? So yes, you're perfect that that the process is recommended and authorized, but because the process itself is very slow, therefore we see so many ups and downs happening, and therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come here to give us the prema pumartha mahan, right? The ultimate thing that you finish this process, this business in this material world as fast as possible. That is also one of the criteria that we are looking for. It is not that we want to go back to Godhead. We want to go back fast. So therefore, I think that is one of the glories of devotional service. That is also puts it ahead of other processes. And moreover, other processes, Śrīla Prabhupada is actually also writing this. Other processes will not end up in the direct association of Krishna. They may or may not end up in direct association of Krishna. After the finishing of Ashtanga Yoga, you may or may not end up in front of Krishna in the perfection of state. But in devotional service, every time, everyone will end up there only. Like that. That is what my understanding is. Hare Krishna.
This is what that is.
Yeah. Actually, Śrīla Prabhupada mentions about it in other cantos of Bhagavatam. So the bliss talked about over here is the bliss of reciprocation with the Supreme Whole. The bliss is in the reciprocation. Because in the Brahmjyoti, the person, the jiva goes and just lies down. There is no activity at all. He just is there for eternity, like that. Sat and Chit is there. Knowledge is there. And eternity is there, but no bliss is there. Because there is no association or reciprocation with the Supreme Lord. And because there is no reciprocation, therefore, in order to look for that reciprocation, there is that void of bliss, and therefore they come out of Brahmjyoti. They again practice devotional service, and then they go back to Vaikuntha, Saket, Lok, Ayodhya, Golok Vrindavan, and then finally Navdeep, depending upon what is their inclination to what kind of bhava towards the Lord. But what I have read is the definition of bliss is the reciprocation with the Supreme Personality of God. I didn't get the full thing. So these Gyanis and Yogis. Yes.
Because they are using the process.
Yeah.
So therefore, they do not have that serenity.
So it is told in scriptures that there are three forms in which the supreme truth can be realized. Right? The people who have realized, they have actually categorized it in three forms: Brahman, then Paramatma, and then Bhagwan, the face-to-face thing. So most of the time these and it is compared, Śrīla Prabhupada is comparing it to the sun god, the sun globe, and the sunshine in the same order as Bhagavan, Paramatma, and Brahman or Brahma. So these yogis, most of the times they actually, end up in one of these aspects. They don't necessarily end up in the highest understanding of the absolute truth, which is the personal form. They necessarily don't end up there, right? So that is the point. Most of the times, for example, Nirvikarvadis and these people, they end up only realizing the Brahmajyoti, the Nirakar form of the Lord. Or they will see this whole universe as the universal body and they will worship it like that. But beyond that, they are not able to move. And in Chaitanya, it is told by Haridas Thakur when he is glorifying in Antilila, if I am not wrong, he is glorifying the devotional service and the holy name. He is saying that these people, when they come in touch with holy name and pure devotees, their shell that they have created, that there is nothing beyond Brahman or Brahmajyoti, it breaks. And then they move out and their understanding evolves into Paramatma and then Bhagavan. And this is only possible by the association of pure devotees and the holy name. So as an answer to your question, these people actually, they have confined their understanding of the absolute truth to one of the lower aspects that we saw, lower aspects, either Brahman or Paramatma. Somehow they are not able to get the understanding of the Bhagavan. They are not able to reach there. It may be one of the reasons, but what we talked about here is that people finally when they get free of all these anarthas, that their level of anarthas, and they reach Brahmajyoti, even then in that case they cannot stay there for ever. They will have to come out of it and practice devotional service in the association of devotees and then go back to Vaikuntha. So this may be one of the reasons, but ultimately, whatever reason they reach there, they will have to come out. That is the point. And it is only possible by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Via the pure devotees, we get the holy name. That is the import of this verse.